Verona Bruin says council has an awful lot to answer for. For years, she begged them to take down a termite-infested tree on her nature strip. They refused. And guess what happened?
If a council-owned white ant-riddled tree falls on your house and you'd warned council about the tree and begged them to cut it down, who pays for the damage?
On the word of the insurer, they declined the claim.
Not council, apparently.
This corner was completely smashed out. There was leaks all coming down through the window, and that's where all the water came into the bedroom and ruined the carpet. There was
Verona Bruin's home was unlivable.
What did it end up costing you to get it all repaired in the end?
$20,000.
And you're a pensioner?
And I'm a pensioner.
When that council tree on the council footpath fell over in high winds.
It was going to fall, yeah.
It was the day Grandma and another family member who had been in the room just minutes before could have died, says Mia.
If they had been in there any longer, I could have lost them. That's what worries me.
In the small Upper Hunter Valley town of Aberdeen, where they are not in lockdown, folk have come out in force for an injustice, they say, that's happened to one of their own.
That's the tree that fell.
Everyone knew the two trees outside Verona's place were in bad shape.
Now we've been complaining about the two trees for years.
And when one of them fell that day, there were more white ants than timber.
For the last 20 years, people have been watching this tree, both of them, Brady, because they just got bigger and bigger, and everyone thought, well, it's going to bloody happen one day because we get severe westerlies coming through here.
And it wasn't as if council didn't know about the problem, say these fine folk.
I've notified the council. They ignored you.
You wrote to council?
Yeah.
They ignored?
They ignored you.
Lots of people did.
Well, this poor old lady, she was onto them since she's been here.
Rang them several times and written a letter.
Very strange, because when we contacted council, they told us the council's insurer, JLT, has found Upper Hunter Shire Council was not liable for damage caused by the tree, as it had no awareness or prior knowledge that the tree was likely to fall. Something doesn't seem right here, because Verona says council came out to look at the tree before it fell.
And they said it was fine.
It toppled over not long after.
Well, they never actually had an arborist here to look at the tree, not once. They only had their general grounds people come and have a look.
With council balking at paying for the damage, Verona's family eventually had to pay because this pensioner didn't have insurance. But she's paid 40-odd years of council rates. And anyway, why would she need to claim on her insurance, she thought, when it wasn't her tree or on her land?
But they filibustered over it for nearly 12 months, or they declined the claim.
They say...
And because they couldn't foresee this happening. But I said, well, you can't foresee a water pipe bursting in the street and flooding somebody's home, but you take responsibility for that.
She said to council, how could they say they didn't know about the termites?
Yeah, they're being very evasive.
So through freedom of information, she is getting council to unearth all the letters, emails and phone logs of complaints from her and others, including one from the previous owner.
So she says there, I've told council about this.
But it's going to cost the pensioner.
They'll charge me $30 an hour.
To get the information that you sent to them?
To search for the information.
Locals sum it up in 3 words.
Not good enough.
Not at all.
But the situation is getting worse. You see, the second tree has termites.
That is white ant eaten. That fell down onto the ground.
Council came around, did a trim, and said the tree was fine.
And they're letting this tree stay there and they're not doing anything about it. There are kids that walk under this tree to catch the bus and the limbs are falling down. What happens then?
Jake and brother Lucas are worried young men.
I just think it's going to come down.
I am a greenie.
Perhaps the jewellery gave it away. Anyway, even resident Greens councillor Sue Abbott says there needs to be a sensible tree policy in place.
I think, in my view, this council chops down the wrong trees and doesn't chop down trees that ought to be chopped down.
Yeah, residents were gobsmacked at the trim council did to trees on Main Street.
When they contact council, they're not being listened to. And then, certain catastrophic events happen.
In the meantime, Verona lives in fear.
And they should look after the constituents and put the constituents before a tree.
Because if that second one goes, she could end up shifting home across the road.
And Verona's now considering dropping her Freedom of Information request because she simply can't afford it.